Hey guys, Mystical Gaming, our side gaming channel, is officially back after a 3-year hiatus, and to kick things off, we're doing a Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker Let's Play on there currently right now. Go subscribe on there today if you guys like everything Nintendo and all things gaming. Catch you guys there. Link will be in the description below and in the ad card in the right corner. The weather is changing and life gets a little more scary, which means Halloween is just around the corner. What better way to celebrate the month of October than with the best team for ghost types? Don't be afraid because things are still the same as always with the best team series, just more spooky. Remember, the biggest rule here is that a Pokemon never appears more than once on one of these best teams. If you don't see Trevenant on this team, there's a chance that you'll see it on the best team for grass types, and that goes the same for any other ghost types that have a second typing attached. A big thing to mention for you all to keep in mind, as always, that these typing teams should be viewed more as theme teams to have decent fun with rather than something you should take into the Monotype tier. So that being said, let's add some souls to the Keystone and get right into this new best team. You guys already know how we usually do things, and today will be no different as we open up the best team with our Mega Pokemon. There are a couple of options at Ghost type for a Mega Pokemon, but we've only got 2 to choose from since Gengar was featured on the best Poison type team. That left me with either Mega Banette or Mega Sableye, and the decision felt pretty simple. I went with Mega Sableye, taking its great defenses and making it the pseudo leader for this team. The interesting thing here is if you want, you don't even need to Mega Evolve straight away with Sableye. Usually I wait to talk about the moves a Pokemon has given until after I introduce them, but in this case I'll share one. Sableye is Will-O-Wisp, and prior to Mega Evolving, it will have the hidden ability Prankster. If you would like, it's very possible that you could hold off on Mega Evolving Sableye for a while and keep it with its Prankster ability so you can gain priority in attempts to burn your opponent. The main plan here is the Mega Evolve though, and going forward I'll be talking about Mega Sableye only. Mega Sableye is set up with some good defenses like I referenced before. Its physical being 125 base and special being 115. It's only got 2 problems, an absolutely abysmal speed stat that's just base 20, definitely one of the absolute worst I've ever featured on a best team. That's not all though, as its HP is only base 50. The speed is something that can inevitably be worked with, but that HP stat I needed to do something about. The attack and special attack of Sableye aren't all that important, but they're both base 85. As for the EVs, I have given Sableye 252 into both HP and special defense, as well as the careful nature. Its HP gets boosted to 304, which is really hardly any bulk, but something I needed to do to prolong Mega Sableye's time in the field. The special defense is going to shoot up to a pretty good 361 as well, eliminating a lot of worries that Sableye will get one-shot by a special fairy move, which there are plenty of. There is also Magic Bounce that Mega Sableye gets to use, which will come in majorly handy if anyone tries to set up hazards against you in a battle. Mega Sableye's moveset is going to open up with Knockoff and then Will-O-Wisp and Recover, finish off by Protect. If this feels like a pretty standard moveset to Sableye to you, then you'd be right. I didn't see any reason to get particularly too flashy as Mega Sableye is mostly there for support anyway, and these moves are more than good enough to achieve its goal. Knockoff opens things up and it's a move boosted by Stab. If your opponent is holding any sort of item, Knockoff's power is even greater, resulting in base 146 with all boosts taken into account. It's a great move that you can rely on to help ruin any plans your opponents have that they need items for, and it will be the only actual offensive move you have to use if you find yourself out there with only Sableye left at some moment. Next up is Will-O-Wisp, the move that I referenced earlier. It's great to use before you even Mega Evolve, being able to take advantage of Sableye's Prankster ability. This will be a big part of possibly stalling out opponents in the battle, and helps cover for Mega Sableye's physical defenses that we didn't boost when working on its stats before. Following that is Recover, which is of course used for the purpose of keeping Sableye alive for as long as possible. With the moves it has and its ability, any sort of setup your opponent might be trying to achieve can be absolutely ruined, and it helps check most Pokemon. The longer you can have access to Mega Sableye, the better your chances of winning a battle are. Protect plays right into that philosophy as well, giving you an extra turn to let the burn do its job and maintain whatever HP Sableye has at the time. Coming up next is the Pokemon who adorns the box art for Generation 4's Pokemon Platinum, Origin Form Giratina. Giratina on its own is already pretty darn strong, but I decided to pump it up even more by throwing on its signature orb, and just flip it over from being defensively inclined to more so offensively. Ghost Dragon is such a cool typing, even if it isn't super great defensively. To be honest, the main reason why I wanted to focus on making Giratina more offensive is because I understand that even with high defenses, it'll have lots of problems handling Fairy types, Dragon types, Dark types, and a couple of others. In most instances, Origin Form Giratina is usually used for defogging and whatnot, but that is not how I'll be using it today. It's going to be a physical attacker that makes the most of its bulk and great attack stat. It's got Levitate too, which eliminates the ground typing from being able to hit it. A nice perk for an already great Pokemon. Like I mentioned earlier, Origin Form Giratina is the more offensive option of the 2 Giratina, flipping the 120 defense and special defense into 120 on the offensive side, both physically and specially. Let's go ahead and give 252 EVs to HP and attack, driving up the HP to a rarely seen 504, and the attack stat goes up to 372, which also includes a boost from the adamant nature. This is a great setup for Giratina to hit hard and take hits, so just remember that we've set it up as an offensive Pokemon for most regular battles you should take this team into, instead of a support Pokemon with some special moves as is the popular way to use Origin Form Giratina. Like I said, we're going full offensive machine with Origin Form Giratina here, and its moveset opens up with its signature move, Shadow Force. Following that are Earthquake, Shadow Claw, and Dragon Claw. Shadow Force is a 2-turn move that leaves Giratina unhittable for the first turn before launching a stab boosted 180 base power move that even hits past Protect. It's a great move to lean on when you need to do a great amount of damage. Following that is Earthquake, a 100 base power move that is merely here for doing great general damage if nothing else. We've got more stab with the next move, Shadow Claw. Its base power is stab, boosted up to 105, and it's got a high critical hit ratio, so you'll probably be doing a very good amount of damage with it whenever you use it. Finally, there is Dragon Claw, a stab boosted 120 base power move that is just your general dragon move that you can feel free to use against other dragons that you'll inevitably face off against. I purposely went against the general consensus of Origin Form Giratina to make something unique. So before you go down in the comments and tell me that's the wrong way to use this Pokemon, just know that I purposely went and made it up a different way to use it. We're sticking in Sinnoh for our third team member, and it's going to be one of the many evolutions to prior Pokemon introduced in Generation 4, Dustnor. As has been an option when I've called up upon new Generation 4 evolutions before, I could have went and used Eviolite Dusclops to moderate success, but I felt more compelled to bring in Dustnor for more bulk that can actually attack successfully as well. The biggest problem here, as is a bit of an issue across the entire team, is how awful Dustnor's speed is. It definitely is a little better than that of Mega Sableye, but not by a whole lot. It's an extreme, underwhelming 45 base, but we're going to need to work past that unfortunate fact. The good about Dustnor is that it packs wonderful defenses, 135 base in both kinds. It's got a decent 100 base attack too, but here's where it shares the same problem Mega Sableye had, a poor 45 base HP. I want you guys to think of Dustnor as the offensive-minded version of Mega Sableye, here for coverage and to take hits while coming in for specific type matchups you need it for. The spread we're going for of Dustnor is 252 EVs in its HP to help bring that up significantly to 294, and 252 EVs partnered with the adamant nature and attack to bring that up to 328. I didn't have to touch the already high defenses since it's already a natural occurrence, so I was given the opportunity to bring two other stats close to over 300 as well. With all of this now established bulk and a pretty good attack, Dustnor fits into its preconceived role very well. For its item, we have it choice banded. On a Pokemon like Dustnor, it's only natural that we take advantage of its attack stat as much as possible. Also, its ability is up to you. I chose to use Frisk, but either that or Pressure works. It might be in your best interest to name Dustnor Saitama because this whole moveset involves a lot of punching. Thunder, Ice, Fire, and Shadow Punch are what we've got to work with. And hopefully you guys now understand what I meant when I said Dustnor's main deal is to act as a coverage Pokemon. Thunder Punch, as you would expect, is to be used against water and flying types, and has a 10% chance to paralyze the opponent. Ice Punch is also good against flying types, but will also help out against dragons, ground types, and grass types as well, with a 10% chance to freeze those hit. Fire Punch gives coverage against steel, ice, grass, and bug type, and as the pattern is shown, gives Dustnor a 10% chance to burn the opponent. Finally, there is Shadow Punch, which has a 60 base power as opposed to the 75 base of the other punching moves. The difference here is Shadow Punch can't miss, and thanks to Stab, it's got a base power of 90. Use this move for all Ghost and Psychic types you come across, and you'll find yourself well prepared to take on over half the typings in the game when combined with the elemental punches. This moveset might not be all that glamorous, but it's definitely going to come in handy for you when you least expect it. We're going to head into Alola now and welcome everyone's favorite Pikachu wannabe, Mimikyu. Being a popular Pokemon in its own right, Mimikyu made plenty of sense to include on this team, thanks to in part to its fantastic typing. Being both Ghost and Fairy makes it weak to any other Ghost types and Steel types, giving it a great opportunity to go toe-to-toe with most Pokemon you're bound to run into. I would be remiss if not to mention its great ability, Disguise. If any move is used against Mimikyu that does damage, it will be completely negated, but only once in a battle. From that point on, Mimikyu will be in a busted form and left open to any attacks. You can be sure that I'll take advantage of such a useful ability as well, no doubt. As for Mimikyu's stats, they're not the most impressive when compared to other Pokemon on this best team, but I was able to put them to good use and turn Mimikyu into a great entry for this team. It falls into the same category as most Ghost types seem to, of not having the best HP stat, but that's completely fine. We actually don't need Mimikyu to really be all that bulky, though if we did, the 105 base special defense would be a great thing to build off of. I chose to give Mimikyu boosts in speed and attack, 252 EVs going to both as well as a Jolly nature. That moves it up to 320 and 279 in both stats respectively. I really want to turn Mimikyu into a strong and speed offensive threat, so I decided to do that instead of any shenanigans involving its defenses and any possible stalling. I personally feel Mimikyu is set up with a good move pull, and with an ability as good as Disguise specifically for the direction I decided to take it in, and I hope you guys end up appreciating that after you get a load of these moves. Mimikyu's moveset opens up with Swords Dance, Shadow Claw, Drain Punch, and Play Rough. Continuing what I was just saying, Mimikyu's move pull and ability come together to turn it into quite a powerhouse, and starting off with Swords Dance when Mimikyu is out will set you up quite quite literally to wreck house. You'll be able to get off any one move you want, consequence free thanks to Disguise. And this should be the one you go for, because Swords Dance is going to take that attack stat and double it right up to 558. From there, most Pokemon will need to hope against hope that they can outspeed Mimikyu, because it shouldn't have a problem two-hitting or flat out knocking out most Pokemon it goes up against. Shadow Claw is already a stab boosted 105 base power, and with a high crit ratio, yeah, it's pretty much over. Drain Punch is next, and it's solely here to help Mimikyu maintain a steady resupply of HP for when it's in need. Drain Punch is a pretty great move already with 75 base power, and with how hard it should hit, 50% of the damage regained as HP should be more than enough. Finally, we've got Play Rough. It's going to hit for 135 base power thanks to stab, and has a 10% chance to lower the opponent's attack. That's all pretty sweet, right? Well, if you've been paying attention, you'll notice I didn't mention anything about Mimikyu's item. It's got one, and its own personal Z crystal, the Mimikyu MZ. With that, Play Rough turns into the Z move, Let's Snuggle Forever, which is normally a 190 base power move that heads right up to a staggering 285 power. Nothing will take that from a Swords Dance Mimikyu, and if they do, they won't last long after that. Let's keep things right here in Alola with the next Pokemon, the soul-fighting ghost-type Pokemon, Marshadow. This is a really cool typing, by the way, even with the weaknesses it'll have to deal with. Marshadow is pretty much set up to be an offensive powerhouse, using the ability Technician that gives it 60 base power and lower moves, a sweet 1.5 boost in power, all even before applying Stab. The two stats we're focusing on for Marshadow are speed and attack, and we've got some great totals to start off with. It's got a base 125 in both of those stats, by far its two highest. The rest of its stat totals are very mid, but they shouldn't matter too much. Armed with the 252 EVs and the Adamant Nature, Marshadow is going to have 349 in speed and 383 in attack, making it into possibly the best Pokemon on the team. I didn't even bother to give it an item, and you'll find out why in a moment. I'll say this much. If you'd like, you can make Marshadow Jolly Nature instead of Adamant. I just went with what I did because I wanted to see Marshadow hit as hard as possible. Marshadow's signature moves Spectral Thief, Force Palm, Shadow Sneak, and Acrobatics are its 4 moves, and as you can tell, I tried to take advantage of Technician as best as I could. Spectral Thief is the only move not affected by Technician, but I couldn't pass up including Marshadow's very own signature move on this set. Spectral Thief has a powerful base 135 attack thanks to Stab, and its ability is very interesting, copying the boost to the opponent's stats before connecting. If you're up against a Pokemon that has boosted its attack stat, then Marshadow is absolutely going to be raking in the damage using this move. Next is Force Palm, which gets boosted up to 120 base power thanks to Stab, and is boosted once more to 180. This move has a 30% chance to paralyze the opponent as well, making it a very economic move to have on this set. Shadow Sneak is next, and after Technician and Stab get put into play, its base attack is 120 and it carries priority, so it'll hit first. This is a great move to use when you need to quickly eliminate the opponent, even if it isn't super low in health just yet. Finally, there is Acrobatics, and I'm sure you've noticed Marshadow doesn't have an item. Acrobatics ends up completely doubling in power to base 110. It's a great move to cover against Pokemon that may resist fighting, like the Fairy typing. Finally, we're going to close out the team with an Ultra Beast, Alola's own Blacephalon. We've managed to go this whole time without even tapping into the special attacking side of the Ghost typing, but fret not because we're definitely going to with this Pokemon. Blacephalon was an Ultra Beast introduced in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it turned heads thanks to obvious reasons. Not only is its clownish demeanor head turning, but so are its stats, rocking out with the fantastic 151 base special attack. It's got a very fresh 127 base physical attack as well, but we're not going to be worrying about that as it's all special from here on out. Also, if you thought we were going to be going this whole team without our signature glass cannon or nuclear bomb Pokemon, you'd be wrong. Blacephalon already has a special attack to prove it's got the nuke power, but the base 53 defense and 79 base special defense shows off it's got almost no chance of surviving maybe more than one hit from anything. The only thing left to do now is give Blacephalon its stat boosts, and those are probably pretty obvious considering how I was gushing over its special attack. 252 EVs go into that in speed, and the Tib Nature gets thrown on as well. Blacephalon will end up with 344 speed, and the massive special attack will end up at 400. That isn't enough for me though, as I threw the choice specs on Blacephalon and brought that special attack up to 600 on the dot. It will not stop there though, as its ability is Beast Boost, and that special attack will only get higher for every Pokemon you knock out. Blacephalon might be based off of a clown, but there is no joke when it comes to how powerful it can be. Blacephalon's stack moveset is Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Psyshock, and Hidden Power Grass. Shadow Ball is pretty obvious to include for the sake of Stab, being a 120 base power move. Following that boost, it also gives a 20% chance to lower the opposing Pokemon's special defense. Flamethrower is next, and a feature boosted 135 base power with a 10% chance to burn the opponent. Both of these Pokemon will cover you against the mass majority of opposing Pokemon, but that's not all, as Psyshock will free you up to handle all the special walls your Blacephalon might run into. It's got 80 base power and will use the opponent's defense stat and damage calculation, meaning the Florges and Goodra of the world won't be able to deal with such a powerful move. Finally, there is Hidden Power Grass, which gives coverage against all 3 of Blacephalon's fire type of weaknesses: water, ground, and rock. As usual, I would never recommend staying in to fight these Pokemon, but if you have no choice and aren't locked into something else, this move will pay dividends. And just like that, this spooky best team is in the bag. I feel like quite often when making these teams, I don't get the chance to focus on physical attackers so much, so I went ahead and made this a very physical team, totally throwing back to the earliest generations of Pokemon when ghost type moves were all considered physical. As always, I want to hear from you guys though. Please let me know what you think about this team in the comments below. If you use it, let me know how it works. Would you guys do anything differently, and is there any Pokemon you'd rather see on the team that wasn't included? Let me know everything in the comment section below like always. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Austin Lega, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sudden Grider, and Enigma97 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.